All right, this is garlic mustard by Tim McNamara. So garlic mustard is an invasive plant found throughout much of North America that is native to Europe. First introduced in the 1800s for erosion control and as a common household spice used by European settlers, garlic mustard has become one of the most impactful invasive species in eastern North American forests. Human transport aided in the establishment and spread of garlic mustard throughout the East Coast, north to Canada, and as far west as the Midwest. Garlic mustard is capable of suffocating native plants and dominating forest understories. It even has allelopathic abilities to alter soil composition both biologically and chemically. Complete removal of garlic mustard is the best management option, but garlic mustard may have long-lasting impacts beyond what the eye can see. So garlic mustard is native to Europe, and it is one of the oldest spices used in European cuisine. In fact, a study found that garlic mustard seeds have been found in carbonized European food deposits from prehistoric pottery dating to about 6,000 years ago. It is plentiful in its native range of Europe, occurring most commonly in upland forests and in grasslands, along roads and highways. Garlic mustard is now found ranging throughout North America. It is able to grow in both dense shade and intense full sunlight. In Europe, there are a host of herbivores that feed on it, and populations are able to spread rapidly, growing from 20 to 120 feet per growing season. Once established, garlic mustard is often a prominent member of the community. So, transportation and introduction. Garlic mustard was originally brought to North America as a spice by European settlers as early as 1861. By 1868, garlic mustard was found growing in native communities in Long Island, New York. As settlers moved west and settled new areas, garlic mustard was transported and introduced for erosion control along streams and riverbanks. Because garlic mustard was a very common and useful plant for many Europeans, there is a healthy amount of evidence for high propagular pressure for a number of years. The high diversity in alleles found in the introduced populations of North America strongly support multiple successful introductions of garlic mustard into North America from many different European regions, specifically the British Isles, Northern Europe, and Central Europe. In addition to the high propagular pressure of garlic mustard, there are quite a few reasons that this plant was able to establish successfully in North America. First and foremost, garlic mustard is monoecious, meaning it has both male and female parts in the same flower. Furthermore, it is pollinated by bees, flies, and other insects. This suggests that even a single garlic mustard plant would be able to successfully produce offspring in North America. And it does not necessarily suffer from allele effects. Garlic mustard was taken from the temperate donor region of Europe and introduced to the temperate recipient region in North America. When it was planted in or near shaded riparian zones and forest edges in North America as erosion control, garlic mustard was placed in the perfect position to establish effectively. Garlic mustard will more readily establish on the edges of areas cultivated by humans or along lower elevation riparian zones. It is suggestive that if garlic mustard was not planted on these edge areas of lower elevation, it would not have been able to successfully establish an upland forest at all. On top of that, garlic mustard does not rely on disturbances for effective establishment in North America. Could successfully establish among native plants. So, as I said earlier, garlic mustard was spread by early Americans as settlers moved west. But on top of that, garlic mustard has a very aggressive reproduction effort. It invests an average of 20.4% of biomass to reproduction, and annual seed production is averaged at 15,000 seeds per square meter, or 5,000 seeds per plant, allowing the establishment of many individuals from a small number of propagules. In garlic mustard's earlier years of invasion, The spread rate was estimated to be about 366 square kilometers per year, but between the early 1900s and today, the rate of spread increased substantially to an estimated 6,400 square kilometers per year, one of the fastest spreading invasive plants in the US. In its native range in Europe, garlic mustard is consumed by a host of insects, which aid in its ability to dominate. And when found in its non-native range in North America, these insects are not present. In fact, it has no natural predators in North America, which allows it to spread unchecked. And then here in the PowerPoint, I put calyx of garlic mustard. Each calyx can hold, or each plant can hold up to 5,000 seeds per year. And then moving on to impacts of garlic mustard. Major impacts of garlic mustard include displacement of native species from forest understories, usually displacing native herbaceous species within 10 years of establishment. This displacement and out-competition of native species also threatens the species that rely on forest understories to succeed. For example, garlic mustard displaces toothworts from the forest understory pretty commonly, and the endangered Virginia white butterfly uses toothworts as a source of food in its caterpillar stage. With the toothworts being displaced, the butterfly tries to lay its eggs on the garlic mustard plant instead. Garlic mustard proves to be toxic to the larva, and the larva dies. As native plants are consumed by herbivores such as white-tailed deer, garlic mustard is able to grow over the reduced native plants and effectively outcompete the native species, because white-tailed deer do not recognize garlic mustard as a food source. Native plant fitness decreases as garlic mustard dominates the forest floor. And then, as mentioned above briefly, garlic mustard is allelopathic or capable of altering soil composition and chemistry, and this often has significant impacts on biota. Removing garlic mustard may not be a viable management option because of this. Even up to 3 years after complete removal of garlic mustard, soil samples showed that there were fungal richness, fungal biomass, fungal diversity, and abundance of fungal guilds were still comparable to invaded areas. Soil chemical and physical compositions also remained similar to invaded areas, suggesting that not only does garlic mustard have long-lasting impacts on the soil, but that complete eradication may not be enough to control the invasion. On another note, a slightly more positive impact of garlic mustard is that it proves to be a more effective competitor to non-native species when compared to native species, meaning that garlic mustard can potentially stop the introduction of new species from establishing, can potentially stop new introduced species from establishing while still allowing native plants to grow. But this area still requires a lot more studying. Then management options. Complete removal of garlic mustard from a system proves to be the best management option for garlic mustard, although complete removal is essentially impossible. After removal, studies have found that native populations of annual plants, vines, and tree seedlings significantly increased. But once again, this is a very difficult goal to achieve. Another option would be the application of herbicide, specifically glyphosate, to patches of garlic mustard. A study showed that over 2 years of applying glyphosate allowed for a significantly greater cover of native spring perennials, but after 5 years of herbicide application, there was a marginally lower number of native annuals, according to the study. Although this herbicide may kill garlic mustard, it is also negatively impacting native species over the extended period of time, thus making herbicides a temporary, non-optimal management technique. And one last management technique is based off the fact that garlic mustard is established and it's very common across much of North America. So that technique could be coevolution between non-native garlic mustard and native plants. Garlic mustard has been established and observed in North America for over a century, and as time continues, native plants tend to develop a tolerance to competition over the invasion history. These changes are due to the reduction in garlic mustard's allelopathic traits, as well as an increase in the tolerance of native species. Each species will differ from one another when it comes to evolving competitively, forming a tolerance to garlic mustard, but this is one final potential outcome that could be an effective management to garlic mustard.